Hello and welcome to the latest of my Inside Tracks. Today I'm going to explore the opposition between Venus and Pluto, which became exact at 4:04 p.m. Universal Central Time on the 5th of June. Now this event started to build up within 3 degrees, whilst Venus was still in the sign of Cancer on the 2nd. And it's going to come to an end on the 9th of June. So the 5th is the peak. This is when the intensity is the greatest. But of course Venus has just moved into the sign of Leo. If you want to watch my deep dive special, please see the link beneath this video, and you can see how I've explored the next 4 months. But this event is particularly exciting because if we go back right to the first day of 2023, Venus and Pluto were in a conjunction. And at that point, Pluto was just in the sign of Capricorn, where it's going to return on the 11th of June as it inverses within its retrograde back into the sign it's been in since 2008. So whatever was going on then, I feel has some kind of fated dimension, and that's really going to be played out even more strongly over the next 4 months as Venus makes its way through the rather grand and regal sign of Leo. Thank you so much for joining me. If you're new here, I'd be honoured if you'd subscribe. Please click or tap on the bell notification symbol. If you're a returning visitor, thank you so much for joining me once more. If you'd like to get your free written daily horoscope fired to your device each morning, please see the subscription link beneath this video too. So what does Venus opposite Pluto represent? Well, let's just explore some of the archetypes of Venus. Through its Earth rulership, we're definitely talking about sensuality, money, everyday money, can be about our self-worth and values, definitely about an appreciation of the good things in life, also things like fashion, but food, good wine, they also very much encompassed in the influence of Venus through Taurus, which has an appreciation of security. Now also Venus governs the sign of Libra, which is very much more to do with aesthetics, presentation, diplomacy, and of course relating. So in the sign of Leo, which is governed by the Sun, Venus is given an amplification of warmth. So it's a very sunny influence, and it's very much to do with us manifesting our individual desires. So whether it is through a romantic situation, the social world, perhaps through our artistic and creative talents, that's where Venus can help us shine right through to the 9th of October. However, Pluto, the themes here, Pluto governs the sign of Scorpio. It's the modern ruler. It's very much to do with transformation, but it can be about things we can't necessarily tangibly see. So sometimes it can be the levers of power, and that power isn't always displayed in an obvious way. So behind the scenes power can be to do with the underworld, of course, in a more positive way in terms of personal development. It can be about regeneration, growth, higher truths, and also perhaps in a more earthy way, perhaps about sex and desire in its own way. But when Venus and Pluto are in an opposition, what we need to be conscious of, and this will influence the Venus transit all the way through Leo, is motives. Because what Venus can be in some ways is actually quite superficial. So people can use charm and graciousness to hide or mask what their true desires are. So sometimes, we get a message from someone that's very flattering, and it's very hard not to be influenced by that. It's a form of being very pleasant and courteous, but there's a thin line between that and feeling that maybe someone is trying to massage our ego somewhat. So whether it is around a romantic dimension or around a business opportunity or money, just be aware over the next 4 months, if someone's really laying it on with a trowel, ask yourself the question, why? Because very often, particularly with the square or the opposition, there will be something that they want from you, but the ultimate winner may be them. So if we think back to when Venus was in that conjunction with Pluto at the turn of the year, I did predict at that time we would see a lot of fated relationships. Now, because Pluto can be about secrets, also we're seeing with quite a few well-known people and even big business organisations are coming very much into the public eye. They're coming under much greater scrutiny for some of the things that they did, whether it's to do with industrial spying, listening to the voice messages of people's mobile phones without their knowledge, or whether it's to do with actually sharing opinions which libel someone in some way, not true, trying to shape an agenda, because Venus is very much shaping perceptions. And also, we've seen some big falling outs among some very famous folk. So when we had the combination of Venus and Pluto right at the start of this year, the part of their journey in Capricorn was in a dward, or the 12th harmonic, ruled by Sagittarius, which is very much to do with higher truths. It's also to do with travel, the big picture, and can be quite dramatic. So now, as Venus has made it its way all the way around to the sign of Leo, it's back in an opposition with Pluto where it once was the start of the year in the conjunction. So fated relationships certainly possible in a big way this year, and this is another turbocharged moment that can turn up the volume. So just think back over your year so far. Have you encountered somebody who you feel in some way cultivated the relationship for you, but then when they got what they wanted, they've moved on? So that's the Pluto, the moving on. So just be conscious of that. And we also have to be aware of our own motives. I think that's really important. In terms of the actual aspect, in this particular case, there's usually not much middle ground. It's all in or all out. And I think people who have this in their natal charts, they really can be quite possessive, can be a little bit jealous. They don't like the gaze of their partner to focus on anyone else. And there can therefore be struggles if someone is more secretive or doing something without their partner's knowledge. May not necessarily be particularly a bad thing, but just not being very open. And I think it's important therefore to just be conscious that sometimes in all sorts of relationships there is a reason for them. And if we're honest, most relationships are based on need. Now I'm showing on the screen now just the solar chart based on the zodiac as a whole, the beginning point being 0 degrees Aries, so the vernal point, and that pictures Pluto in house 11, very much about the collective, friendship, being a bit more detached, cool, very Aquarian location of Leo. Well, Pluto's in the first ward of Aquarius. So Aquarius is about we, and Leo can be more about I, particularly with Mars also in the sign of Leo as well. So I think if there is any relationship in our situation, be it professionally, with friends, neighbours, relatives, or in an outright romantic context, where there is an imbalance, there isn't an integration between the two parties involved, I think some politics are almost inevitable over the next few months. But this aspect can also create a lot of drive and desire. So if you're wanting to bring some magic to your love life and some extra lust and passion, you're certainly going to have an opportunity to indulge that over the next few months. But just be aware of what the setup is and whether the awareness of each party is matched up, because I think that that's the Aquarius energy of Pluto. It's wanting a higher truth, whereas I think Leo is much more about getting what we need straight away. And that's okay, but longer term relationships work best on a balance and a consensus and give and take. So just be aware, you could encounter some rather charming but rather ruthless people or person, and just be prepared for it. It's been a real pleasure being with you. If you'd like to take advantage of my very special astrology package of 30% off, please see the link beneath this video. These charts are totally unique to you and will give you Syrian insights.